Just wait a couple minutes.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Autodesk ProEst webinar. So today, my colleague Nathan and I'll be giving you a brief description on what Nathan's going to be going over for this webinar, and then he will go over it more in depth when we switch over. Go to the next slide, please. All right, so what is ProEst? So ProEst has been established for over 40 years in construction estimating software, and it's the #1 cloud construction software globally. So it's specifically developed to be hosted for Australian and New Zealand use, with over 150 clients in AU and NZ. Cadgroup is a proud elite partner of Autodesk, and we support ProEst through the APAC region. Next. So why ProEst? Well, ProEst delivers the 4 key elements that are key to estimating tools in construction clouds. So they deliver innovation, scalability, collaboration, and integration, which are all very important. Next slide, please. That's just a diagram that essentially dictates how the cloud is sort of used to better understand. Next, please. So in terms of scalability, ProEst is unique within the estimating software market, and it will be 100% cloud-based. It's got unlimited users. User member numbers are not linked to the license fee, which is an added bonus. All patches and software updates performed automatically with 0 downtime. So which means you can be estimating a big project and you'll have no downtime whilst you get the latest version. Next, please. So in terms of collaboration, so role-based security allows you to define who gets access to what estimates, which essentially means only certain people can have access to certain files. It's got true cloud delivery, which allows registered users to access ProEst anywhere, anytime, at any place. It also has estimators in the field that can collaborate with real-time with office or regional-based staff. Next, please. So in terms of integration, ProEst comes with a pre-built integration to a variety of systems that include MYOB Advanced Construction, QuickBooks, Viewport Vista, Procore, JobPack, and Builder-Trend. And as well as that, ProEst integrations can be easily configured to suit your specific integration configuration, which is another added bonus to using the software. Next. So before I close off here and let my colleague Nathan take over, so Cadgroup is here to support a detailed overview of ProEst, and we match your estimating and business needs using the power of ProEst. So I will let my colleague, who is an expert and a specialist at this software, take over. That's Nathan. I'll let you take over there.
Thanks for that, James. Hi, everybody. Just a bit of background for those that don't know me. I'm Nathan. I've been here working with ProEst for the last 4 or 5 years now, and been in the industry for about 15 years now. So there's a good chance I've spoken to a few of you in attendance before. So today I'm just going to go through ProEst and just a broad overview of what we bring to the table. So what we can see here, this is the very first page that you're going to see when you log into ProEst. It's got a nice dashboard with some specific reports that you want to see. It's got all their tasks and events. So if I, as an estimator, have estimates due, they're going to show up on this page. There's nothing that can be forgotten. And I can access all my jobs straight from this page as well. So this is a pretty handy dashboard to begin with. Just as an overview of the software, on the left-hand side menu, this is our main part of driving, and up here we've got all our settings. So I'll just work our way through here for now. Across the left, we've got a calendar, so this will sync to Outlook and can show you any related jobs. So as an example, I've got a schedule view. Here's my jobs for the 16th. of June. So this is obviously last month, but it's showing me what was due at these times. So I can choose my own views up here, and as I said, it syncs to Outlook. Next tab, we've got the actual estimate center. So this is where all your estimates are going to live. This is a really nice page. So at the moment, I've got a filter on. I'll just expand that. So here's a list of all my estimates here. We've got a couple of ways we can break this view down. Across the top, we've got some quick filters, which are based off of the estimate status. So as an example, if I want to see all my awarded jobs, I can just click awarded, and it'll quickly filter down to all my awarded jobs here. I've got a lot of grouping options as well. So as an example, I can group by who owns the estimate, so I can quickly find my estimates. We can group them by projects, estimate types or statuses, so we can see all our opportunities, our closed jobs, our won jobs, etc. I've got some further filters down here on the right-hand side, which allow us some more in-depth filtering for quicker viewing of our estimating page. We've also got a different view we can use. So I use this view, the list view, but we do have a card view, which can show you some nice pretty pictures if you add them. And just be some extra detail there in this view. Next page, ProEst also includes a little mini CRM tool within it. So you can have your customers, your subcontractors, your clients, pretty much anyone that you regularly talk to can be imported or added into ProEst for quick reporting and emailing too. So this is the company view, and then from down here I can come down and see any contacts within that company. See any contacts within the company, see what type of business they are, any previous interaction we've had with the company. Through this history page, all of the information can sit here, and again, all this can flow through to reports. On top of that, we have a task list, so this will just allow us to create individual tasks for specific people. This will send emails, it'll add notifications to their home page. This is a really handy feature to assign certain tasks to certain people or groups of people to make sure that parts of the estimate aren't forgotten or you haven't followed up or anything like that. So that's a nice little tool to use there. Next, we've got our database. So this is our items database, so our cost items database. So all our materials, labor, subcontractor, equipment, and other, I guess, will fit somewhere in this cost database. So in our example database here, we've got what we call a 3-tier structure. So we've got a division, subdivision, then a grouping folder. This allows us quite granular control of how we want to produce our estimating proposals, as an example, or even just how we've built our database. So as we can see here, we've got quite a lot of different disciplines that have then broken down into more specific disciplines for that type. And then we've got a third grouping here, which in our case, we're just using as a cost type at this third grouping. Within the same page, we've got assemblies. So for those that aren't aware of the term assemblies, could be rates, recipes, some people call them. This is basically just one item that is made up of a group of items. So as an example, if I come down into my plastering one wall layer, I can see that these 8 or so items here make up this one layer wall assembly, and ProEst has the ability to create formulas, and we can use our formulas and formula variables to automatically calculate based off of one measurement what is required to get the quantity for the rest of these items. Furthermore, we've got reports. ProEst has a nice reporting section, which I'll go into. So across here, I've just got some preloaded reports here. Here's an example BOQ report that we've got. So this is what we use our sort types, which I'll go into, to create some groupings. And then this is a BOQ that has been provided by the user and uploaded into ProEst. And these items have been assigned to the BOQ line item they need to be. Across further, we've got a more detailed breakdown. So this is another report that is broken down of phases and showing us our items, our quantities, unit costs, etc. Any notes that we may have put with the items. And again, this is based on the phases. So I've broken this job up into 5 separate phases of work. And so I can get 5 individual totals for each phase. Here's another report here. This is just a quick, simple materials report that I've generated from an estimate. This is literally 2 clicks of a button. Very easy to generate these types of reports once they've been created. And we've got some additional groupings we can use in a lot of these reports as well, based off of our sort types or our WBS codes of work breakdown, or our database that I mentioned just before. So moving on from there, that's the broad overview, I guess. We've got our sort types. So I've mentioned these quite a bit now. Another term that you may be familiar with is WBS code. These are basically just a bucket that we can create, that we can assign items or groups of items to, so we can group them up. As an example here, I've got a building sort type. I can assign cost items to building 1, building 2, building 3, and group by those buildings. I'll show you an in-app example of that in ProEst. So these are all completely customizable. They can be job specific as well, or they can be company wide. It's really up to you. They're very, very flexible and a very, very powerful reporting tool. So that's the quick overview of all the menu options that are, I suppose, relevant to today's discussion. Let's go into an actual estimate now. So here's an estimate that I prepared earlier. This has just got some material items in it and some labor items. I haven't made any assemblies or anything for this example, but I wanted to take you through the whole process. So when you first create an estimate, this is what you'll see. You'll see it'll bring you to this estimate page. So within ProEst, we've got the ability to do a takeoff, which is quite handy. So we can simply add the file that we need. Just bear with me. And I'll click save. That'll quickly upload the PDF. And I'm now good to go and start my takeoff. Some handy features that the ProEst has is the ability to automatically name and create the page numbers and descriptions. So ProEst has already taken it upon itself to go and try and find the page numbers in this PDF that I've uploaded. As you can see, it's found 4, but not the rest. So I can click on this magnifying glass to find the rest. So essentially, this is a quick way to name all my plans so I know what I'm looking at, right? So I've got this cool handy tool here where I can just select an area that I want ProEst to look for, press search all pages, and it'll go through and search on every single PDF in that field. I can do the same for description. So this is just really going to save us time having to go through and manually do this, so we know what plan is what. So here we've got a plan that's now been filled out with all its description and page numbers. From there, I can go to my takeoff screen, and I can now see all my plans on the right-hand side. And I can expand on that, and we can see they're all nicely named, so I know what plan is what. So from here, for the takeoff, we're going to need to set a scale. So we've got an option to set a custom scale or pick from a predefined list. For this example, I'll just pick from a predefined list just to keep us moving. I can apply that to all pages, and now all pages have been set with a scale of 1 to 200. All right, so the takeoff tool is quite nice. We've got quite a few options across the top here. The very first thing I like to do is first confirm that my scale is actually correct. So in this case, I'll just use this bar down here, and I can use this ruler tool to just make sure that I am getting the correct scale. And in this case, I am. I've just measured 10 meters plus 10 meters, got 20 meters, and I've done it perfectly. It's going to be as accurate as I click. So from there, based on that, my scale's all good. I know I'm ready to begin my takeoff process. So there's a few options with bringing the items into takeoff. We can bring them in directly from our database. So if I go to my database, I can see here that my job that I've created is sitting up here. So as an example, if I just come into this civil folder, I'm going to just click on this plus sign, and that's going to send this filter shift item across to my estimate. And if I just scroll down to my estimate here, we'll see filter shift here. Now we'll notice this is red. That's because it's got no quantities against it. These items are red because there's no quantities or quantities or cost against it. So this is a good little check to make sure we've got all items are valid. Now, this item that I've just bought in hasn't come to takeoff. It is only in the estimating screen because it is not a takeoffable item. So from the takeoff screen, what we can do is add our takeoffable items. Up across the top here, we got add new takeoff. I can click in here and I can start searching. So I've searched conch. It's going to bring up anything that's got conch in its description, and so I can bring in these items directly into my takeoff and start measuring. Alternatively, I can add whatever I like. If this is an item that's not in my database, I can just simply type it in. I can give it a unit. I can save it, and I can start measuring off that now. So there's my concrete wall. It's not part of my database, but it's here. And just as an example, I can measure that, and I've now got a 585 square meter concrete wall. All right, so what we can do now is we've got some additional tools across the top here. We've got the ability for overlays, so that's really handy for any revisions. If we're getting plan revisions, we can bring in the new revision. I can overlay it over the top of the existing plan, line it up all correctly, and then tell ProEst which plan we want to use now going forward, and that can move any existing takeoffs onto the new revised plan, so you don't have to do a second measurement for any revised plans. We've got the ability to insert some text or highlight specific areas of the takeoff. If there's any issues that you're wanting to highlight or annotate, I can do that here by simply clicking on one of these three tools here. And then over here, I can give it a bit more detail to say, please confirm this area is correct, for example. Yeah, and that will sit there as a very obvious note for people that need it. We got an auto count ability. So for any each items, if you've got a plan that's got the same icon over and over again, we do have the ability for ProEst to automatically find all of them within the estimate. So I can ask the application to find all square items that look like this. It'll go through and find them all. It's found 7 or 8. I can say this one's incorrect, so I'll just untick that one. It's now got a grey box around it, and it's gone ahead and automatically counted 6 of those items on this plan for me and marked them up. So that's a nice feature for quick counting. Some other tools I like to use are these snap to corners and these snap angles. This will allow me to do some very quick takeoffs, but allowing me to, it's going to attempt to snap to lines for me, so I can very quickly take off based off of the drawing, and it's just going to follow a line for me because I've got that tool, that snap feature turned on. As you can see, that's kind of jumping around from line to line. On top of that snap, we've also got an angle, so I can allow myself to only do a takeoff at a certain angle, which is really handy for those more precise takeoffs you need to do where you want to make sure all your lines are straight. So as we can see here, I'm now restricted to only 30-degree angles in my takeoffs just by turning that tool on. From there, we've got the ability to print that directly to a PDF. We've got a bunch of options in regards to showing a legend there how you want to display the legend, if you want to separate page, etc. That's a nice handy tool for sending your PDFs directly to your clients or any other user that may need it. And then of course this all flows back through to the estimate. So those items that I've created within the takeoff section, if I just scroll down towards the bottom of my estimate, here's my concrete wall. Again, it's red because I haven't got any costs against it. There's my each items that I just had ProEst automatically calculate. And just for an example, if I put a cost of $1 against them, they turn white to indicate that they're now a valid item, and that's being added to the total across the top. So within the estimate, I keep mentioning sort types. So I've got the ability to apply groupings to these items. So at the moment, these items are not part of any grouping. Let's just see if I go to my sort types. Just as an example, I'll use these building 1, 2, and 3. I can assign each individual item or groups of items to a sort type, which will allow me to group it. So just as an example, let me find building. I'm just adding this as a column for ease of use. I can just work my way down this list, assigning each item to a specific section of the building. And again, these sort types can be used for any type of grouping. They're completely custom. You might, as an example, you might have it in phases of the actual job. So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. We can also use the sort types to filter down to only display what we want to see, and then report based off of that. So just as a quick example, I've gone ahead, I've assigned some of those items to a building, and as we can see here, building 1 has these 6 items underneath it, building 2, building 3, and so on. No sort type is just, these items haven't been assigned yet, so I just need to continue to work my way down through the list. So that's very handy. We can produce BOQs by using these. We can produce anything we want, really. These allow almost infinite manipulation to the estimate and to the reporting. We have the ability to have multiple groups. So just as an example, I can group by my folder, my database structure. So if I group by divisions and then subdivisions, this is now a replica of my database that we showed you previously. And we can see everything under preliminary as general conditions and those items that fall under that category. From there, we've got the ability to add our margins and markups. So this is quite a powerful tool also. It can be as simple as just adding a percentage to all cost types. So up the top here, I've got the ability just to apply 10% to labor and material, but subcontractor is going to get a 20% markup on it. Otherwise, down here further, I can go into a bit more detail. As we can see, we've got some pre-filled here that are assigning to design, engineering, project management, contingencies. We'll also have we've got the ability to filter down. So as an example, if building 1 that we assigned those sort types to earlier has a higher markup than building 2, I can say that one gets 20%, this one gets 10%. And using these filters here, I can select, and I'll just say building 2, which is code 02. So now any item that is code 02 with that building sort type is getting a 10% markup on it. And as we can see here, that's equaling $2,739. So this page is just working its way down the list, basically adding margins on top of margins. We got our original total here, then our new total, and then our new total up here, and that translates to up the very top here. So that's a very quick run through of the estimating process. Of course, from here, this is where you'd run those reports, and that's how you get items like this produced. The reports are very, very customizable. There's an in-depth report builder within the application. So any of the default reports don't work for you. There's a very easy to use report builder. that obviously we can assist with if you need it. Otherwise, it's a what you see is what you get type builder, which is really handy. Outside of that, we have got some pretty in-depth user management. As mentioned at the top, this is unlimited user licenses. So from this page, you can add infinite users. All they need is an email. As long as they've got an email and internet access, they'll be able to access their software, this software, for no extra cost to you. We've got the ability to set up very specific roles, which of course come with their own user permissions. So we can stop people deleting items from the database, as an example. That's a pretty important thing we don't want to happen. So there's a pretty in-depth user setup there that can be quite powerful, and again, unlimited users, which is great for scalability. There's no additional costs if you're hiring a new person. That doesn't mean you need to hire a new to purchase a new license for ProEst. You've already got it. Another powerful feature we've got is workflows, which, as a very basic example, we could use for revisions. So we can set it up, which will force, we can trigger automatic emails to go to supervisors, as an example, to confirm if an estimate's ready for submission, and that can trigger emails back and forth between the estimators and the supervisors until that's ready to be sent to the next step. And again, this can force a lot of automation in terms of emails being sent, the job being set to the next status, variations being created, copies of the estimate being created, and so on. That's probably it, to be honest, guys. That's the very high level overview of ProEst and its basicsness. We do have the in-app education center, which is very handy. There's quite a few videos for each type of user to use. So in this case, we've got the estimator users and we've got the project manager users. It's got its own in-app support section as well, which has a quite handy knowledge base. For example, if I don't know how to do a takeoff, I can search for takeoff and it's going to give me a nice rundown on what everything does and how to do it. So they're both quite valuable as well. And I think that's it for me there guys. I'd like to open the floor to any questions if there's any. Otherwise, thanks for your time. James, is there anything you wanted to add?
Just to add to that, if you guys have any questions, there is a chat box in there. I don't think you guys can talk, but if you can't talk, there is a chat box in this webinar software. So if you have any questions for Nathan, just type whatever your message is in there. We'll sit here for a couple of minutes, but if you guys are happy and all that, you guys are good to go. Copy of this will be uploaded on YouTube as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your time, everybody. Please reach out to us if there is any questions. I can be contacted at ngordon@cadgroup.com.au. Otherwise, I believe you obviously have our details already as well. So if you need anything from us, please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, thank you.